And we're live, and this is an impromptu cast because I didn't think I was going to do it. But yeah, we were talking off air before this began about
Bethesda
and their games. And I'm going to keep it real. At this point, I'm not even like, it's not even the bugs that piss me off with Bethesda. It's the fact that their games have gotten, like, especially the Fallout games, have gotten progressively worse. And the Elder Scrolls games aren't getting much better. And I mean, I'm one of those people that I know people are going to be like, well, what do you mean you like these games? Yeah, I actually like.
You actually like these Bethesda games that have such potential, story, lore, and gameplay, but considering who they're in the hands of,
yeah. That's the thing. Like that's what bothers me, is that I just, that's what essentially ruins it for me. Cause like and like I said, I like Fallout. I do. I like the original Fallout very much. It's one of my favorite. Like, I like Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 3 is just not very good.
it's like they want to do a FPS, but they want to do it in a setting that is in their wheelhouse.
Well, no, it's just that Fallout 3 is just really gray and dark. It's like, and it's like Bethesda doesn't understand the general gist of what Fallout's about, because Fallout, like, everyone thinks Fallout is about the post-apocalyptic, talking about culture. No, Fallout is about, despite this post-apocalyptic thing, society is still going on. There's still people doing business. There's still people raising their kids. There's still people with pets. There's still drug dealers, prostitutes, bandits. There's still some people.
Life goes on even when the big bang happens.
Yeah, there's still some people holding on to society, or trying to rebuild society. That despite all of this horrendous stuff that happened, life is still trying to go on. That's the whole point. And then you get Fallout 3 made by Bethesda, and they missed the point. Not to mention the ending of that game sucks. They had to basically, because the ending of the game, canonically, before they added this extra DLC to make up for the shitty ending and to open it up, is that basically your character sacrifices himself to bring clean water to the capital wasteland. Big fucking deal. Like, which is just some bullshit. Because normally, if I'm playing an RPG and I get through the main quest, there should be other shit I can do.
I was going to say that unless you pull off a New Game Plus, that kind of thing makes no sense.
Well, I mean, that's Fallout for you. Fallout 3. But then you get Fallout
4?
Fallout 4 made by Bethesda, and that's just as bad. I mean, it's, in some ways, it's worse.
And if anything, I could use the example of getting power armor so early in the game, and how it one-shots big-ass creature, but you probably could do something a lot better than that. At least in how Fallout 4 did worse.
I just think, like Fallout 3 tried to be a Fallout game, but Fallout 4 is so much worse. Because Fallout 4, literally, the story sucks. Like, you're an RPG, and yet there's no role playing to be had, and you have some of the shittiest factions. No, factions. Some of the shittiest factions. Because basically, there are 4 factions in Fallout 4. There's the Minutemen, which is basically like, we're going to build society. We're going to rebuild the Commonwealth. Okay, that's cool. And the Minutemen are okay. They have good ideas, but they
don't have the intelligence or resources to pull it off.
They don't have the resources to pull it off. It's like, we really want to do this, but we just don't have, like you can pretty much see what's going on here. But then you get the underground, which is basically, hey, we're here to we're here to stop we're here to stop the exploitation of synths, So that's their whole thing. They just want to stop the exploitation of synths. And I can understand it. I mean, they're trying to equate it to slavery and shit like that. So I can.
That's a little bit abstract.
Well, the synths basically, but here's the thing: it's not like they're trying to stop the slavery of all synths, just the synths that look like human beings. Like there are other synths that are like earlier generations that look like androids. No, just the human-like synths. They should be free. It's very like it's like Bethesda doesn't want to actually do things that are smart, and plus that engine that they use is so old and broken that it's ridiculous. Old broken down fucking engine. Broken piece of shit. Yes. I said that the engine that they use is a broken piece of shit. And it is. I mean, anyone who knows anything about this is why Bethesda's games are so broken. Okay? Because they've been using the same engine for many years, and it has not changed. Okay? So, all right. And this
we're getting about the other factions, but go ahead.
Well, yeah. Went off on a tangent about the engines. Well, the other two factions are the Brotherhood of Steel, which I mean, it's the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood of Steel in the like original Fallout games, they're basically like the last bastion of technological know-how that's not like trying to control or take over other people. But Bethesda's version of them are these xenophobic assholes who basically want to attack and kill everybody who isn't human.
I can only wonder how they deal with the mutated creatures.
Yeah, well, I mean, like they're ghouls who aren't really, they're ghouls who can't help that they were irradiated, but the Brotherhood is still like, well, fuck you. I mean, like, okay, if it's the ghouls that are like running around attacking people, fair enough. You can't control everybody, but these people are xenophobic assholes. This is Bethesda, folks. They're racist.
I'm trying not to face palm, and that's only 3 factions I heard.
And then the last faction is the obvious bad guy faction, which is the Institute. But here's the problem: the Institute is basically like your obvious. This is the obvious bad guy faction. But here's the thing. The Institute actually makes some valid points, but Bethesda can't write a decent faction to save their fucking lives.
I was going to say, when can they write a decent story to save their lives?
Well, I mean, the thing about Bethesda is that they're like, okay, for their own for like Elder Scrolls, Bethesda can do world building like no one's business because it's their baby. They know what it is. They know what it's supposed to have.
That's weird. Since you said that, that made me worry about how they do story writing with the Fallout series.
Well, I said world building because it's theirs. Like they built it. Like Elder Scrolls is their baby, so obviously they should know what's supposed to be in an Elder Scrolls game. But the problem is that I will tell you that for most of the Elder Scrolls games, the basic story sucks. The world building is really good, and I'll not deny that I'll not take that away from an Elder Scrolls game, because even Skyrim has some decent world building in it. Even though like the setting is really fucking boring, because if I have to see more snow and just snow everywhere, just snow, 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 you better get used to the color white, because that's all you're gonna get in this fucking game. Yeah. White, white, white everywhere. But anyway, but yeah, the Institute's whole big thing is that basically they want to basically subjugate the wasteland with their synths and replace people who are causing trouble with synths. That's it. They have a lot of technology that they could be using to help rebuild society, but no, fuck that. We want absolute order, and if you don't listen to us, we'll replace you with a synth. That's the Institute. I mean, it's just not, you know what I mean?
It's not as epic.
Well, the story kind of sucks, but it's not necessarily like, Bethesda can't write good stories anyway, so, and it's not their baby anyway, so they have no incentive to write a good story. You know what I mean?
Yeesh.
This
makes me wonder how some people do some story writing when it's not their own property.
Well, I mean, the reason people can get away with Elder Scrolls is because Elder Scrolls, there's a lot of world building. So like there's some interesting side quests. You can create your own story. You can role play. Your choices actually fucking matter. Elder Scrolls does this really well. The original Fallout games kind of did this well, where you're kind of dumped into this world, and what you do greatly determines what's going to happen. But you watch, like you play like Bethesda's Fallout games, and the story is shit. And then they tried to make a cohesive narrative for Fallout 4, so you have no incentive to role play. The gameplay is good, but it's not a role playing game. It's just you're literally just running around shooting shit. It's not very good, sadly. I'm not happy about it.
And now I can understand why I said that Bethesda, in a sense, is like Square Enix with Final Fantasy.
They no longer want to make role-playing games. And look, if you want to do a Fallout spinoff that tells a cohesive story and isn't a role-playing game, go for it. But don't take something that has been a role-playing game for years and now switch it over just because you don't like it. That's annoying. But that's what they've been doing. So that's what I've basically been like, you know what, fuck this series. But then there was a bright ray of shining hope. And
New Vegas?
New Vegas, yeah. New Vegas is actually one of my favorite Fallout games, because it basically encourages role playing. Your choices matter. There's more than 4 factions. Like there's way more factions, and your choices actually matter. Like, which I find amazing.
And to think, in that game, it all started with you trying to recover from getting
shot
popped in the head for just delivering mail.
Literally, and you're just basically a glorified mailman, and you got shot in the head. That is hilarious. To me, it's hilarious that this poor guy gets shot in the head, or girl, because you can be male or female. And that's it. Like, and then you find out there's more to it than that. There's like, if you get the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC and stuff, there's so much more to it. But the factions actually, except for Caesar's Legion, fuck those bastards, because they're rapists, slave holders, genocidal maniacs. and fuck Mr. House because that dude is a sociopath. But aside from that, all the other, all the other factions in the game have their own little thing going on. They all have a point. Like, the NCR is not perfect, but they have their own thing going on. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I like it. Very good. One of my favorite titles. Plus, it's really moddable. And I heard that they're making Fallout. They're using the Fallout 4 engine to make Fallout New Vegas. Now that's a game I would play. New Vegas. Plus, New Vegas had it was basically a Western. Except I never figured out how in Fallout New Vegas, everyone was always like, man, be afraid of Caesar's Legion. Whenever I saw those guys, I just pull out my gun and shoot them in the head. It was like, I'm like, why are you so afraid of these people? Just shoot them in the head. They're dudes. Especially when you start getting better weapons in the game. It's much easier to take them out.
Well, if anything, if you want to be sure that you get your point across with idiots, be sure to bring some heavy artillery.
That's one of the things I did like about Fallout. What I do like about Fallout, basically, you can feel your character progression because as you get better weapons, you do more damage. Like you really do feel like you're becoming more powerful. Until Fallout 4, where they give you fucking power armor in the first
2 hours of the game.
No, like the first. If you take out the opening cutscene, in the first 20 minutes of the game, you have power armor, which is bullshit. You shouldn't get power armor. Like power armor in Fallout New Vegas, you might never get it if you don't play your cards right. Like, because you need power armor training in order to get power armor, and the only people who can give you power armor training is the Brotherhood of Steel. And you might not, like, depending on how you're role playing the game, you might not want to help the Brotherhood of Steel. So you might never get power armor in the game.
In short, you have to be a total beep in order to get that stuff.
Well, I mean, not so much. It's just like, depending on how you're playing the game, you might or might not align with them. Like, I've played the game numerous ways. I played the game helping out Mr. House, who's a bastard. I played the game helping out the Brotherhood of Steel. I played the game helping out the NCR, which I tend to fall for the NCR just because they're trying to rebuild civilization where you have, like, a government doing services, collecting taxes, like shit that protects society. And then you have Caesar's Legion, which is also a government, but they're fucking insane. Because I mean, like I said, they're into slavery, genocide, rape,
all kinds of low stuff,
crucifying people. I'm not a religious person, but I don't think people deserve to be crucified. Really, like, Obsidian goes out of their way to show you these are not nice people. Do not side with them, because the first time you meet Caesar's Legion, they basically killed everyone in this village because the mayor was duplicitous. I'm like, God damn. Did you have to kill everyone? Okay, there's like one guy they let loose, another guy they broke his legs. But everyone else has been crucified or thrown onto a tire fire. Yeah. Which, for those of you who may be listening, throwing people on a tire fire or stacking tires on them and lighting the tires on fire is something that was used during the days of apartheid in South Africa that they would do to African dissidents. It's a horrendous way to die because the tires don't burn at a high enough, like it's like slowly burning to death. So yeah, Caesar's Legion.
I already have a feeling that was evil.
Oh yeah,
But
it's some fucked up
heap,
shit. Yeah.
that is dark.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't side with Caesar's Legion because that's a bridge too far. You know what I mean? That's just
I'd rather see that bridge collapse right now.
so. You know, I don't side with Mr. House because the man is batshit insane. Um, because he is like, if you go to his little uh to like where his previous house used to be, like his corporation, and hack the computers, you find out this man has basically like killed everyone near him, just like had them murdered. And his brother, who, I mean, yeah, his brother was kind of a scumbag to steal the business from his older brother, but still, I mean, you can't just kill everybody. Even his former ex-girlfriend had her killed. I mean, this man is a maniac. So yeah, I was like, yeah, he has to die. Uh, I did kill him. Anyway, I like it. But Fallout New Vegas, great game. I would tell anyone to play it nowadays, especially when you can get it cheap on sale for PC or PS3 or Xbox 360. It's a great game. I give it 2 thumbs up. If you have to play an Elder Scrolls game, play Oblivion or Morrowind, even though they're old and they look like shit. Um, you can do more role playing in those games because Skyrim just. Ugh.
Even if it gave us the name of First Row, duh.
Yeah.
Does it feel good to loud your Bethesda rants?
Mostly, I'm mostly happy about it. I'm mostly happy to get it off of me, but um,
They'll keep piling it up.
I'm mostly happy. I think the problem with I think the problem with most Elder Scrolls games, I think the problem with Bethesda is that they are so ashamed of making RPGs that like they want to get that larger audience. But there's nothing wrong
with being an RPG.
There's nothing wrong with going for that more niche audience.
They're taking the Final Fantasy route, which is as soon as they get a chance, right away from the RPG legacy that you hold and go into something that you probably initiated in a different series. And if you wonder what I'm talking about, Final Fantasy 15, or as I call it, Final Fantasy Cross Kingdom Hearts.
No, that's Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts. It's just Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts.
Thank you. I call it Final Fantasy Cross Kingdom Hearts because, well, because it's more like Kingdom Hearts than Final Fantasy, but they just use the fantasy part to just color it up in prettiness.
They make it look like Final Fantasy, but it's not Final Fantasy. It's like, yeah, having Chocobo in it doesn't make it Final Fantasy. I know some people are going to get mad. How dare you?
I had to groan about that because, well, basically, when you see your beloved series go down the drain, it's hard to look back at its past and say, you used to be this, and now you're this.
Yeah.
Where did that be for you?
what happened? Like, what happened to you, man? What happened to you? You used to be so good. I mean, that's basically how it feels to be a Final Fantasy fan these days, because Final Fantasy is not what it used to be.
I agree on that.
I mean, you could even say it sucks now. I mean, yeah, it does suck. I mean, why are we lying? Why are we not telling the truth? Final Fantasy sucks these days, okay? It's not very good, okay?
Yeah, the battle system's been altered to all Hades to the point that it's unrecognizable, or
Well,
even
yeah.
turn-based for star's sake. Because I'm going to be serious, people that love Final Fantasy 13, it's not a beep and turn-based system.
No, it's not. It's, to tell you the truth, for me, the true successor to turn-based combat is what they do in the Xenoblade games, like Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade 2, because basically it's like, yes, in modern gaming you can't get away with just like you attack, then a bar fills up, I attack. But if you do
That's
something,
the ATB system, by the way.
how's it going? But if you basically were to go with something a little bit different, like you were to say, like they do now, where it's like, okay, you have actions, your actions have a cooldown. So you can't spam heals, you can't spam magic attacks, but everything has a cooldown. That makes a lot of sense, you know?
That I could agree on in a sense, because, well, if you do cooldowns right, it feels like an MMO, but not a bad MMO.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it feels like the logical evolution of the active time battle system, except instead of it being like like kind of like a lame continuation of the active time battle system, it's like, okay, it makes sense why you couldn't spam attacks and there would be cooldowns. Like it makes sense, but whatever. I know people are gonna get mad when I say that. They're like,
are you talking about real-time systems fully replacing turn-based systems for RPGs?
well, we were talking about how basically Square Enix doesn't really make RPGs anymore, because Final Fantasy 15 isn't really an RPG. Because, I mean,
Yeah. As I said earlier, it's Kingdom Hearts cross Final Fantasy.
Basically, yeah. It's like, oh, what would happen if we took Kingdom Hearts and we took Kingdom Hearts and we made it into we took Kingdom Hearts and we mixed it with Final, and we took that battle system and put it into Final Fantasy. And I'm like, that's not Final Fantasy though. Yeah, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. But that's not Final Fantasy. Shut up. But it's not what Final Fantasy I mean, for years Final Fantasy had the turn-based combat system. And then with Final Fantasy 4, they went to the active time battle system. Which twisted it up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with me, I consider active time battle systems not as good as turn-based, but I can understand it, and it's not as tricky to understand. Kind of like going from a car to a motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean, basically, well, I wouldn't say that much. It's like going from a tricycle to a bicycle. If you're going
with vehicles.
No, if you want to use the vehicle comparison, because the turn-based combat system, it was like, okay, whoever was fastest went first. And that's just how it worked. But then they did the active time battle system, where it was like, okay, there's more to it than that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like if anything, the faster your speed, the faster the bar fills up.
Yeah, And so basically, a really fast character could have hundreds, well, not hundreds, but I mean, the best way.
At least a pair of turns in one run.
Well, the best version of the ATB system is in Chrono Trigger, because in the game, like, Chrono winds up being one of the fastest characters in the game. But there's also this item you can get called the Haste Helm, which permanently puts haste on your character that you can basically equip to anyone. And I equipped it on Frog. So basically, that character has, for every one turn an enemy has, or one turn or someone in your party has, even the fastest character, the Haste Helm makes it so that they have like 3 or 4. So it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can attack someone 4 or 5 times for every time an enemy. And basically, like, the active time battle system actually, gave you some, some quality, but then they had to mess that up because Square Enix, they ran away their talent. So, but I got some breaking news, folks. Guess what, folks?
What happened?
It turns out that Rare would be totally cool with licensing out their IPs.
Oh, that one's old news. I remember being mentioned a few weeks ago or last month.
Oh, well.
I was gonna say, what makes it new news?
I'm like, the only reason they're talking about that is
the Smash openings.
Sea of Thieves sucked, and and they need to make money. That's what that shit is.
So Rare wants to be a free range, and yet they're in Microsoft's playground.
Yeah, that's just not going to work for them. I can tell you that right now. That's just not going to work for them. It's not going to work. They're screwed. They're in deep dookie.
I was gonna say, the moment Microsoft cuts the cord, they're gonna be like they're in space without any air.
Suffocate.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen this happen before with one of Nintendo's franchises when they let Team Ninja develop a Metroid game, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, but I don't think that was so much Team Ninja's fault. That game was just very it didn't know what it wanted to be.
Of course, you can blame it on Sakamoto's storytelling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think one of the problems was that, like, that game was never going to be what it needed to be, because basically he was essentially trying to tell this deep story with Samus, who up to that point has never really talked that much or at all, really, except for maybe like a few, like the end credit scenes of a few games, which I'm okay with. Like, I'm okay with Samus not talking except very rarely, I know some people be like, how dare you, sir? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Samus not talking a lot because, I'm okay with that. What bothers me is that like, that game was just was a confusing mess because no one knew what they wanted it to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did they want it to be like Metroid Prime? Did they wanted it to be like a 2D Metroid? Like, you didn't know the level design was just garbage. And they were like, well, like Sakamoto was like, well, I want to create a Metroid game that has both a deep story but also has a great combat aspect. Metroid's never been about the combat. The combat, like the real point behind Metroid is okay, is exploration and basically getting new skills and abilities and figuring out how you're going to use those skills and abilities to get to new areas. That's what it's about. Like that's the whole point of Metroid games. Even the 3D ones are like that. Like combat is like secondary, even tertiary to those games, and that's okay. There's nothing, you know. Not everything has to be, you know,
the newest, greatest, and most popular iconic trope of a game type of all time.
Well, I just think they were
the most cutting edge.
I think they were trying too hard to make it like Metroid Prime, because remember, Other M came out like around the time that Metroid Prime had ended, and they were like, well, you know, I want to do this, that, and I'm like, why? Like, I don't see the point, you know. But I could be wrong, you know. Everyone has their own little. Everyone has their own little personal things going on, but that's just my own little
tirade.
You know, you guys want to bring up something? You guys got something you want to bring up? Go ahead, knock yourself out.
Let's see if there's anything else I might have missed out.
I know we already got our E3 thoughts out of the way, so that should be limited.
I think we can all agree to hell with E3. I think we can all agree just to hell with E3. Just period, just to hell with E3. Just
true, but if anything, I'm at least gonna watch one of them. Of course, we know which one it will be, but only because, well, it's entertaining to see what they pull out.
Oh, the file size for Mega Man X Legacy Collection. The first Legacy Collection 1, it's 3 gigabytes, and for Legacy Collection 2, the digital version is 6.8 gigabytes.
So it's a 10 gigabyte game, right?
So basically, they could have put this on one cartridge, but they were just being cheap. This was basically Capcom being cheap. That's what this was.
How much can a Switch cartridge hold?
Well, I think there's like smaller sizes, but I think the standard sizes that they have are like 8 gigs, then 12 gigs, then 16, and then 32, and then 64. But I think there hasn't been anything that's used a 64 gig cartridge yet. Like I think most of them are like, you know, 8 gig or 12 gig or 16 gig. Like all they had to do was get a 16 gig cartridge and it would have held everything, or a 12 gig cartridge. Like I think Capcom, this is just Capcom being cheap because they were like, we don't want to spend the money on this.
And the streaming service even proves it further.
Yeah, they just didn't want to spend the money on it. They would rather use a cheap ass streaming service
than put it onto something like a cart that could actually hold everything.
Yeah, which I mean, and some people are gonna say, how dare they do that? But you have to remember, Konami's been messing up lately. So
I was gonna say, if anybody wants to know how badly they're screwed up, take a peek upon Street Fighter V and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah.
There would be all the proof you need to see how much they beeped themselves over.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to make anything up by using Casino.
So they've been, you know.
And let's not forget how they won't give us a physical copy of Kokami HD for the Switch.
Okami.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Konami's been messing up for years now. So, I mean, I don't know why people are like, I can't believe they did. Yeah, what is so unbelievable about this? Why is everyone always like, I can't believe? That makes no sense. I can't believe that happened. It's like, I can believe it happened. Shit. I can believe a lot of things. Because Konami's been jacked up for years. I mean, not Konami, Capcom. Well, Konami too. I mean, they all been jacked up.
To some degree. So, if anything, they haven't earned the golden pile of beep yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving that along. So a gaming news channel called Commonwealth Realm was just advertising a playable Zelda mod for Breath of the Wild, the Wii U version at least, since mods aren't you cannot use mods in the Switch version.
No, you cannot. You can use them for the for the
Wii U.
For the Wii U and the PC hack version, which kind of pisses me off because some of those hacks are actually pretty cool. Like the one that they have of the Sonic the Hedgehog and CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I'm like, I would have loved to have that in this game. That would have been awesome. Because basically Breath of the Wild plays more like Grand Theft Auto than a Zelda game.
That's a weird thing to say.
But it's true. Like basically you go around kind of like in San Andreas where you like go to various areas where enemies have their turf and you can take them out to take over the turf but then they respawn eventually and then like basically like you're driving around and then just people just roll up on you and start messing with you. Like the same thing happens in Breath of the Wild, except you don't have vehicles. Well, okay, except for that motorcycle you can get. But generally, it's not vehicles. It's a horse. But same thing, you know. Except I have to say that the ending of San Andreas is more engaging than the ending of Breath of the Wild. Yeah. And I know people are going to get mad when I say that. How dare you, sir?
And of course, and I don't know why, but Commonwealth Realms, the fact that they were promoting that mod rubs me the wrong way.
No, I mean, it's their website. They can choose to promote it if they want to. I mean, you know, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. It just means that's what they think that'd be cool.
Because they're part of the bandwagon that there should be a playable Zelda in a mainline Zelda game.
But there is a playable Zelda in a mainline Zelda game. It's Zelda in
those are not canon.
No, in the third of those 2D Zelda games. Yeah, Spirit Tracks. Yeah, that's playable Zelda.
Oh.
Yeah, Zelda's playable. That's a playable Zelda, and that's canonical. Yeah, that's. I mean, shit. I mean, look.
It took me a bit to remember that because if anything, I know of both games that you could have Zelda as the hero,
and one of them is total shit, made by the Philips CDI people. But we shall not talk about that. We shall never talk about that game. Never. Oh no, two of them were like that. Because there was three of them. There was the first one that had Link,
of trash,
and then there was the second one that had Princess Zelda, and she had to rescue Link and the King. And then there was the third one that was like top down, like trying to take advantage of Link to the Past, but like every time you move from one screen to another, you have to load. Like Nintendo just wants to pretend like those games never happened, but I'll never forget. I will never. Like here's the thing.
Loads, all right. It loads up cheap.
Like slow as hell. Like every time every time I play Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, yeah, Breath of the Wild is a terrible game. It's still like Breath of the Wild by far is one of my least favorite like Zelda games, but it's still head and shoulders above whatever Phillips was making with the CDI. It's
To you, it's maybe the worst of Zeldas, but it's a lot more polished than ever.
yeah, it's got quality. It's got quality. It does have quality to it. Like I might not like some of the choices they made, but you can't deny it's a well-made game. Those CDI games are just shit. Like they're garbage. And Phillips had the nerve to sue Nintendo.
Wah.
Yeah,
Are
I
they
think
really that?
a few months ago, I believe.
They're like, we're gonna sue these people. It's like, motherfucker.
I just had to say what? Because they allowed you, and then you screwed up, and then you're saying we're going to sue you because of how terrible the games acted.
Yeah, I was like, seriously, you're gonna sue them because of reasons. Like I did not I'm still like completely like, what the fudge about that. I don't get it.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, what are they on? Because that must be some good beep if they lost their senses.
Had the nerve to do some shit like that. Oh, really, it's like, seriously, you would say that? Yeah, man, really, it's like that. Yeah, it's like, seriously, yeah, you're going with that. Yeah, okay, all right. That's what you want to go with. I would never say that out loud, but if that's what you want to go with, knock yourself out. But that's just me because I'm that type of gamer. I'm that type of person. And I know some people are going to get mad when I say that. They're going to be like, "How dare you? How dare you say that?" But I don't care.
One of them.
Yeah, some people are going to be like, "How dare you? How dare you not like Breath of the Wild?" I'm just saying, for me personally, it's not like one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games. It's not terrible, but it's not like I'm not like, oh my god, this changed my life. It's not a change my life type of game. It's I enjoy it. I'm not gonna replay it. For me, it's on the level of a Wind Waker. Like I can't play Wind Waker over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can go back and play I can go back and play Ocarina of Time like once or twice a year, and it's still enjoyable. I can play Link to the Past anytime, and it's enjoyable. I can play the original Legend of Zelda, and it's still playable. Like Wind Waker is one of those games that I play that once, and I'm like, okay, I need like a year, 2 years to get, because I can't just go back in and play that.
I was gonna say, you need a palate cleanser.
Yeah. Now there's anything. I know some people are gonna be like, well, what do you mean? How can you say that? It's just not. It's not that type of game for me. Sadly, and I know some people, they're gonna get mad. They're gonna be like, how dare you, sir? Don't you like Breath of the Wild? I do, but it's just.
I wouldn't play them because of the Zelda cycle, where the latest Zelda game gets a lot of hate, whereas the previously hated Zelda game gets
more love.
Well, that's not entirely true, because you have to remember the Zelda cycle is always the previous one. People hated. Like I will tell you that Skyward Sword isn't that good either. like Skyward Sword's not a good game either. Like Skyward Sword has some good ideas, but it's not good either. Like there's some design problems with Skyward Sword that kind of prevent it from being a really good game. Like
how motion control heavy it is.
Well, not so much that. It's just there's a lot of missing opportunities. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'll give you an example, right? Like, okay, the game takes place like 33% of the game takes place above the clouds. Wouldn't it have been cool had there been more things to do in
Up
the
in the
sky.
air.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been cool had there been like hidden fortresses,
Hidden lands.
and castles and dungeons above the clouds, or maybe a mechanic where, like, let's say there's like a fortress, maybe there's a dungeon where it starts like you have to visit because they like to reuse a lot of assets in that game. But wouldn't it have been cool had there been like a flying fortress that, like an ancient flying island or something, that you do a dungeon there, and the dungeon and the island sinks, and then it becomes part of an even bigger dungeon that you have to go back to in order to. So it's like you're constantly, as you do things in that dungeon, it changes the landscape around it. But no, it's just the game is just a whole bunch of missed opportunities that could have existed. But I mean, how much of that was hardware limitations and time limitations? I think they spent so much time trying to get the motion controls right in Skyward Sword that other shit that could have been in the game suffered. And that's kind of like what happens with Breath of the Wild, is that they spent so much time working on this massive open world and getting the physics right, that other things that could have been there suffered. And that's where I'm kind of like that's why I'm like, I don't think Breath of the Wild is that good, because it's like, man, it's like so much wasted potential. It's like you focus like, this is really cool. It's like someone wrote a paper and the paper was really well detailed, but they focused so much on this one aspect of the paper that they missed all this other stuff that should have been in there and would have made it like made this B- paper into an A. And it's like, you missed it. It's like, damn, you missed it. Like, it should have been obvious. How'd you miss this?
You got something going, but you could have did more.
Yeah, and that's basically how it feels for me with Breath of the Wild. Not that I'm like, man, fuck this game, it needs to die. I'm just more like, this could have been better.
You're telling me that the Zelda cycle has been broken because of 2 bad Zelda games?
Well, the Zelda cycle is a perceived one is better than the other. I'm saying that both of them are good games, but there's literally things where it's like, this could have been better. Like, you missed something that could have been
like
a lot
there's
better.
Potential, but you spent so much time in one aspect that it's kind of overshadowed.
Basically, yeah. I mean, listen, you're never going to get perfection, okay? You should never expect perfection in video games, because you're not going to get it. But
with sports games, then.
Then what was the point of you saying how they?
But you can get close, and I've seen it. I've seen them get close. Like, basically, but the thing that people don't understand about Legend of Zelda is that it's always been this dichotomy. Like, the first Legend of Zelda is too open. It's so open that you can miss entire dungeons. You can miss entire items. And you still get to the game, but, I mean, I'm one of those people that if you're a game developer and someone has missed major portions of the game, you failed in your design of that game. Because it's like, if you're a game developer, it's like you wrote a book or you served a dish for someone. If they didn't get to taste all aspects of the dish, there's something wrong. If there's entire sections that you never got to experience, there's something wrong with the design of that game. Then they try to fix it with the second game in the series, because it's more linear than the first one, but it also is soul crushingly hard. like soul crushingly hard. Like, fuck, why is this so hard? And I know some people are going to be like, well,
really?
Well, I mean, isn't The Legend of Zelda Link's Adventure soul crushingly hard? Like, it's not an easy game.
I was gonna say, that's putting it mildly, because I own that game and I've never been able to get through it. No matter how much I even try to look up the guides even today, because it's so skill based, and yet so much you have to do beforehand.
Yeah, it's a very difficult game, and part of that's just you know, the legacy of games like that from back in the day. They were just very, very
painful.
You know, there's a reason they called them Nintendo hard back in the day. This is Nintendo hard.
Yeah.
You know?
And people want that more in games, but yet want it to be playable for and accessible to the masses.
Well, whatever makes them happy. Like I said, I've never been into games that were like that. I never was into games that were just soul-crushingly hard. Like, I don't know why people want games like that.
Huh. Makes me wonder how Battletoads will be like today.
Like, you know, if a game is that hard, I'm just like, I'm not interested.
Nope.exe.
You know, I don't want to play a game that's so hard that like it literally is like just broken. Just
it breaks your rear end. Just your controller just trying to get to the first stage, right?
Yeah, I don't know why people like games like that.
Yeah, because that's how it's the kind of games they grew up with.
Yeah, but I grew up with games like that, and I still don't want games like I'm part of that generation of people that grew up with games that are just soul-crushingly difficult, and I'm like, why? Like, I mean, I understand there are people who think that that's cool. Yeah, this game's really hard. It's fun because it's, you know, it literally curb stomps you in the crotch. Isn't that a great game? No,
because these people hold Super Meat Boy, Cuphead, and Dark Souls on a high pedestal for what makes a good difficult game.
Yeah, but Cuphead is fair because you're just memorizing patterns. Dark Souls and Bloodborne, games like that, those games are just badly made. Because literally you're like running around and enemies are just fucking popping up on you. Like it's not good design. It's like literally you're in a corridor, you go around the corner, enemies blindside you. That's bad design. That's not because the original Resident Evil was like that. Like you'd be walking along and an enemy would just pop up on you. It's like, what the come on, man.
Unless you're using a long range class like Magic or Archer, be prepared for something to send the sword right up your tailpipe. And gods, that is cheap.
So, have you guys heard about Wolverblade?
Wolverblade?
I just recently heard about this from one of our contributors on Discord. Apparently, it got absolutely zero attention on any digital store aside from the eShop.
I mean, from what I've seen of it, it's an okay game. It's just a beat 'em up, except instead of fisticuffs, you're using
fangs and claws.
Yeah, that's the whole. I mean, you know, it's like no, it's not fangs and claws. It's like swords and shields and axes and stuff.
Ah.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's just like I don't really. Why should I care? I don't get it.
And our contributor also confirmed that Mega Man X Legacy Collection does contain X1 through X4, whereas Legacy Collection 2 has X5 to X8, aka the terrible Mega Man X games.
So really, all you need is the first one.
Yep.
Because really, I mean, and X4 is kind of a
like the pinnacle of the X series.
No. I would say the first three games are the best. Basically, I'm just gonna say it right now. Once the X series jumped to the PlayStation, it kind of started going downhill. like when it was solely on the
SNES.
When it was on the SNES, they were good, and then they changed the art style so it became less bit, like 16-bit, and it started getting like sloppy with the design, especially some of the levels and enemy designs. And it just got worse, like consecutively worse with each iteration after that. And people are like, well, the story got better. Yeah, but like, I don't play Mega Man X games for story. I play them for level design and boss design I want to see cool bosses and stuff.
Oh, gamers nowadays only care about the story rather than gameplay.
Yeah, but Mega Man's never had a deep story. It's basically even the original Rockman games, the OG generation. It's like Dr. Wily starts some shit.
Easy.
Mega Man's got to stop him. That's your story. That's it.
Gameplay stories of the past, unless they were RPG, were about one paragraph.
Yeah. Like Mega Man, like seriously, like the only Mega Man game that didn't have Dr. Wily as the villain was, I forget which one, the
Zero
one that
Mission?
had
Mega Man 4.
No, had Dr. Cossack, and then it turned spoiler. It wasn't Dr. Cossack. It was Dr. Wily the entire time. So even then, it's like it was Dr. Wily. Like, I mean, even Zero Mission kind of falls into this because you find out in Mega Man Zero, that entire series, like that entire trilogy, or is it is it 4 games? I can't remember. But basically, you find out that Dr. Wily basically uploaded himself into a computer, and he's come back now that like the heat's off of him, and Zero has to take him out. And I mean, it's all Dr. Wily. It's all Dr. Wily. Okay, the Mavericks were created by Dr. Wily. Well, actually, it was created by a virus created by Dr. Wily that he infected Zero with, who he also created in order to take out the original Mega Man. Unfortunately, Dr. Wily died before he could finish the job. And Dr. Light died before he could finish the job. And here's the thing, like Capcom's like, we're making all these Mega Man games. Why don't you make a Mega Man game to bridge what happened to Mega Man after Dr. Light died? Because he just disappears. We don't know what happened to Mega Man. The plucky little fighting robot.
But if they do that, that means it'll conclude the original Mega Man series.
Not if they give him a satisfying ending that leaves it open-ended.
True.
Because that'll mean no more OG Mega Man games because they always continue after the last one rather than in between.
Like I said, not if they give it an open-ended ending. Because basically, here's what we know about Mega Man, okay? We know that essentially all this stuff takes place in this like model city that's supposedly like built around the concept of
a hopeful future.
Of a hopeful future that's basically provided by robots. And Dr. Wily keeps on messing it up. Of course, Dr. Light doesn't help because he keeps on making these robots that don't have inhibitors that keep them from going insane due to Wily's virus. But whatever, whatever. In the first game. In later games, Wily built his own insane, evil robot army. Okay, his own robot masters. Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool, whatever. But then you get Mega Man
3.
No, then you get. I mean, wouldn't it be cool? Like, I mean, I could imagine this. What if you have a future where Dr. Light is getting sick, and he's just getting old, and like he sends Mega Man off on this mission, but it turns out it's not a mission. He just doesn't want Mega Man to be around because like Mega Man, I mean, obviously Dr. Light succeeded. Mega Man is more than a robot. Blah blah blah. He's more than a robot. Like he even gets to the point where, you know what, I'm tired of Dr. Wily. I'm gonna kill his ass.
But that was just a localization error.
You could say that, but I'm considering it as canon. Mega Man, because the whole point behind Mega Man was that he wanted to create a robot that was sentient, that it could think and feel and had emotions and could make its own decisions based on not on its programming, but by
its own free will.
Its own free will. And so I think at a certain point, Mega Man would see, okay, the problem is Dr. Wily and his bullshit. So you know what? I'm going to end it. Now, Wily makes his escape, but that makes logical sense, if someone's using logic, because at a certain point, it's like this dude is getting, he's out of control. And also the fact that no matter how powerful the robots that Dr. Wily builds, they're always getting smashed by, Mega Man, who on a technical level is not nearly as powerful or advanced in terms of fighting abilities as the robots that Wily keeps on building. Like even Base, who on a technical level is way more powerful than Mega or than Rock, gets his ass kicked all the time. Like he's always getting his ass kicked. He's like the Worf of the Mega Man franchise. He seems really badass, but then he gets his ass kicked. It's like, well, what use are you then? Like they could totally make a Mega Man game that bridges that. Like you could have, because basically ostensibly the Mega Man X games are taking place in a part of the world that's basically been devoted to the robots, but they're still humans doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So why not just make a Mega Man game that bridges that? Like have Mega Man off doing his own thing, Because I mean, we know what happened to X. He basically sacrifices himself to take out
the vial.
Well, take out the Reploids like entirely, and he turns into a cyber elf. So I mean, which is basically just a loose program. Which poor X. He never got to have a life because basically as soon as he was awoken, he was just going around having to fight people. Poor bastard. Can't catch a break.
His inventor was a total douche to him.
Well, no, Dr. Light died. He couldn't really help it. He died.
I said his inventor, which I thought that was Dr. Wily.
No. X was created by X was created by Dr. Light.
Yeah, I was a little confused because you said Zero was turned into a cyber elf.
No. X was turned into a cyber elf.
Oh.
Yeah. X turns into a cyber elf to take out the Maverick virus, which I mean the Maverick virus is basically how can I put this? It was created by Dr. Wily in order to basically perpetuate his need to turn
robots evil.
Yeah. Which is his own thing. He just wants to turn robots evil.
In short, Wily wanted to be the biggest dick even when he's gone.
Even in death, yeah. He pulled an Andros from Star Fox. If I go down, I'm taking you with me. It's like, come on, man. You asshole.
That's a low blow even for you.
That's basically what he did. Even though originally he and Dr. Light were friends and comrades, but
jealousy can do better things.
Oh well, he's kind of an asshole, so.
Yeah.
And tell me again why he's not under the top 10 video game villains lists.
Who, Dr. Wily?
Yeah.
Because basically he never comes up with anything new. It's the same thing over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, Bowser is among the top 10 despite doing the
Exactly. I mean, I guess because Dr. Wily just never seems to learn his lesson. Like Bowser doesn't learn his lesson, but Bowser does try different things. He does go bigger. And plus, I mean, I have to say, just on a technical level, Bowser is more successful than Wily. Because Wily, like Wily, he's like, you would think for such a genius inventor, he could do other things besides just trying to take over. Bowser runs a thriving country that apparently has a great economy because he keeps on rebuilding. And people and his minions actually want to work for him. Not all of them, but I mean, generally, the general populace is quite happy to work for him. So he's got to be doing something. I mean, Wily's own creations turn against him. Base, Zero.
Dang, I just realized how much of a bad record that Wily has with keeping his own minions in line.
Even Gemini, I mean, even his other creations have turned against him, and I can't blame him because he's kind of an asshole. So, I mean, it's the price you pay for being an asshole. An asshole.
Oh, great. Now you got me thinking of that song. Thank you very much.
Dennis Leary's "I'm an Asshole."
Yep.
That is for you people who don't know that song. It's the song by Dennis Leary where he sings "I'm an asshole," and there's a refrain in that song where he's like, when I go out shopping, I park in handicapped spaces while handicapped people make handicapped faces. I'm an asshole. There's another line where he starts going on a rant and the guy stops. He's like, man, you really are an asshole. And he looks at the guy, he's like, shut up and play the fucking song. I'm like, God damn. You really are. Because Dennis Leary looks like he'd totally be an asshole, but he's actually apparently a very nice guy. But he's really good at playing an asshole. Yeah.
There's those times that you really want to be one. At least to the proper people.
But
so, Mr. Red Fox, have you heard about The Fountainhead? Is that a graphic novel or
The Fountainhead? I think that's a book.
Oh, okay. No, because Zack Snyder's going to be directing that movie.
That's fucked then. If Zack Snyder's directing it, it's gonna suck because it's Zack Snyder. And yeah, I think The Fountainhead is an Ayn Rand book about this. It's an Ayn Rand book about this guy who basically believes that, if I remember correctly, it's this Ayn Rand book about this guy who's a architect, and essentially he feels like his work is sacred and no one else can change it. So basically, like he sells his architectural plans to these people, and they're going to build the building based on his plans, but they're going to make some changes. And because he doesn't like that, he decides to like he has this argument. He fights them in court. He loses. He fights them intellectually. He loses. So he just decides to blow up the building so that they can't make changes to it. Like it's the Fountainhead. Ayn Rand's Fountainhead is the foundation for a lot of arch conservatives' beliefs in like basically how government oversteps and how people shouldn't, you shouldn't pay taxes to the government, and how the government has shouldn't be able to regulate anything. It's just a whole bunch of bullshit propaganda from ultra conservatives that, if you really think about it, makes no fucking sense. But whatever. But yeah, if it's going to be directed by Zack Snyder, that's going to suck. It's going to be overly CGI bullshit because that's what Zack Snyder does.
Style over substance.
Quality? Shit, I don't need any quality. I just need overly CGI bullshit.
And that's why certain shows and series are going downhill.
I think shows are too low budget to use CGI that well.
I think CGI is just overused. Like everyone likes to say, well, it started with Jurassic Park.
I was going to say improperly used is the phrase.
Only 10% of the special effects in Jurassic Park were CGI. The rest of it was practical special effects. So
people want that gone and want to return back to stop motion animation.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I just say that for me, this is just my own little personal thing. For me, practical special effects have always looked better than Like even shitty practical special effects to me, because I know that someone worked on that. Someone built that. It has value because someone actually made it. Whereas if someone makes a like CGI, I mean, yeah, it's some digits on in a program. You know, it's pixels that were inserted via a computer. And to me, that doesn't have the same value as someone making something from scratch. So, you know, I mean, and plus to me, even if certain films don't like hold up, to me, there's a certain charm to practical special effects over, you know,
over animated.
Well, over not animated, but over CGI. Although technically CGI is animated, so yeah.
Moving on. So a visual novel that's coming to the Switch requires a Kickstarter support in order for it to come to the West.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And
All right.
the name of that visual novel is called My Girlfriend is a Mermaid.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna get it because I'm not spending money on
because
I'm not
spending
spending money
on a digital book.
Well, I mean, I'm not spending money on a visual novel game because it's probably what it is, a visual novel game. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care. Not to mention, like games like that come to Steam all the time, and you can get them significantly cheaper on PC. I mean, I don't see the point of getting.
Say that considering Steam
Switch.
is getting cleansed in a sense. People are.
I'm sure there are other storefronts that will open up where you can get games like that. So, I mean, either way, you can get them cheaper on PC than on, you know, whatever.
And continue on the visual novels. Have either of you guys tried out Hurtful Boyfriend?
That's the game where you date humanoid birds.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just fucked up right there.
Excuse me, I think I forward.
No, there's a guy in there that like there's a pigeon, and I live in an area that has a lot of pigeons, and pigeons are the most unsexy, unattractive bird on the planet. They're rats with wings, basically. People think bats are rats with wings.
Yet they're among the top 10 most intelligent animals.
Says you, man. Says you.
Nope, it's been scientifically researched.
That may be the case, but I'm still going to consider them to be bullshit ass birds. If I had to give respect to a bird for being intelligent, I'm going with a crow or a parrot over a pigeon. That's right, I said it. A crow or a parrot is better than a pigeon.
Let's see, moving on to other news we might have missed out. So Wave 2 of Kirby Star Allies is starting with using Deroach, kickstarting the second wave from Squeak Squad.
I mean, I wasn't really that into that game. I know some people are going to get mad when I say that. Like, what do you mean? I just wasn't really into that game that much. Sorry. It didn't really do much for me. Like I thought it was going to be really good, and it's good, but it's not like really, really, really good to me. I know some people enjoy it, but whatever.
What the? There's a collector's edition for Shaq Fu, A Legend Reborn.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no.
Did I just hear that?
Please, God, no.
I think I found something to 404 our friend here.
Yeah, the collector's edition includes a cap, a t-shirt, a vinyl record.
If only the first Shaq Fu wasn't a steaming pile of shit.
And a bag.
I actually had that game. That's one of the few NES games that I actually destroyed. Like I'm a big proponent in not destroying physical media, but I destroyed that
There's some games that are just too evil to let exist.
because it's shit.
And somehow Shaq is one of them.
Yes, Shaq is shit.
I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Jordan joined that list.
No, actually, the Michael Jordan game, like Chaos in Chicago, is actually pretty good.
So, what was the news you were going to say, Joel?
I didn't say any news. I just guessed that something with 404 Red Fox for a moment.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, I just want to play good games. That's all I'm saying. I just want to play good games. Is that so hard? But whatever. I guess I'll go play some better games as time goes on.
And hope to see more come out in the future.
Yeah, because I'm tired of bullshit. I tell you that much. I'm tired of bullshit ass games.
God Wars, complete legend.
What?
The thumbnail for the trailer of God Wars, complete legend. There's something about it that's vaguely familiar about it. I just can't put my finger on it. I'll show you what it looks like.
Let me guess. They ripped off Smash Brothers.
No, it doesn't look like a Smash Brothers cover art.
Overview trailer.
The thumbnail. It's the thumbnail. That looks vaguely familiar.
It looks like they're trying to that TV show that's like set in a high school, except it's a high school of religious deities. It looks like that anime, but
I'll give you a hint of what the thumbnail looked like. Remind me. It starts with the letter F.
No idea. Not a clue.
It's Fire Emblem.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
It looks like a cover. It looks like the cover for Fire Emblem Fates. Because the girl in the middle looks like is doing the same pose as Azura.
It doesn't really look like that to me, but whatever.
I can see this as the tactics game mixed with Fire Emblem.
I don't know.
Here's something from Mr. Red Fox. The Super Mario Brothers Super Show is on Netflix. At least the first 13 episodes.
Yeah, I know. They also have it on. Now, see, when I think about Mario, that's the Mario I think of. A fat Italian plumber and his brother who go on adventures. And that makes Mario so much more fun to play. Everybody, do the Mario! It's the
Swing your arms
Super
from side to
Show!
side.
With Captain Lou Albano. Who doesn't sound like he's been kicked in the balls like 15 times, like Charles Martinet likes to voice him. Hey Luigi, we gotta unclog this sink, Luigi. like Nintendo tried to take away. Well, Mario's not a plumber. Bullshit. They had to walk that shit back. Okay, yeah, he's a plumber.
They tried it, and it didn't last for about a month.
Yeah, they are like, well, he's not actually bullshit. He's a plumber. He's also a doctor who prescribes way too many pills. A tennis guy, a kart racer, a referee,
a construction worker,
a carpenter, an explorer of ancient ruins. I mean, really, this guy gets around. And yet he still cannot speak English. And his brother, babies. It's like, what the hell are you saying, Luigi? Luigi, you're high. You got into my pill stash, Luigi. But we found the princess. Luigi, that was a prostitute. But that was mushy. That was Toad. Luigi, that was my dick.
Good night, everybody.
Luigi, you have cancer. But how could this be possible, Mario? Luigi.
Some of the things that go on with Mario and Luigi makes you wonder, how the beeping high are they?
I think they were high when they came up with Mario and Luigi. And I know people would be like, what do you mean? Just come on. They were high.
Yeah. But I'm talking about how high are the characters themselves.
Use for someone's creation.
No, I think you have to be high to come up with Mario and Luigi because people on air don't come up with shit like that.
I'd say that you're right, but it makes me wonder if the creators were high on shrooms, what in the world are the heroes on?
I mean, let's really break this down. Let's break it down, okay? Mario and Luigi are two Italian plumbers who got sucked down a pipe, and they fight like turtle monsters and junk, right? Various types of turtle monsters, right? And what do they use for power-ups? Mushrooms. Okay? Mushrooms. They use mushrooms for power-ups. Now, is there a real life item that could make you think that you've got powers? Yeah, mushrooms. It's called peyote. It makes you high. So yeah, I do think that they were high. I think they were high as balls when they came up with the Mario Brothers, and I'm okay with that. I'm not like, oh my god, how dare they be high? I don't care, shit. I enjoyed the games, but I'm not gonna say someone wasn't high when they came up with that shit, because you'd have to be high to come up with that shit, because people on air don't come up with stuff like that.
You're right.
I don't care what anyone says. No, it's impossible. It's high, man. They're freaking high, baby. High as balls.
Looks like I don't have any news related stuff to share.
Well, I got nothing except I enjoyed my Memorial Day weekend. I barbecued. I was going to barbecue today, but I barbecued yesterday, and I'm like, I'm not barbecuing again because I don't feel like it. Not that I'm lazy. I just don't feel like barbecuing multiple times because I don't feel like it.
I was going to say, plus your fridge might hate you for it.
Oh, no, I have tons of stuff. I just don't feel like barbecuing multiple times because I'm, like once you barbecue once, you're like, I don't feel like barbecuing again.
That could get,
because barbecuing is great for certain things, but not so great for others.
It works with certain foods.
No, period. No, it's just for cleanliness sake, and because you got to clean your grill, you got to clean your grates. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. If you want to do it properly, because if you don't clean your grill and your grates, you're going to get a lot of flare-ups, and it's just not going to be fun. And you don't want flare-ups because it means your food's getting burnt and shit, and it's just not good.
I was about to say, among other hazards.
Or a fire, but thank God I've never had a fire. Although I had a hole burn in my deck, but thankfully I got that fixed, so it's not an issue.
Good.
Anyone have anything else to say? Anything else? Anyone else?
Oh, I should mention that Max Brass won the ARMS Party Crash event.
Really? What happened?
Oh, it's a match between Max Brass and Master Mummy, and Max Brass won by 51%.
Well, isn't Max Brass kind of over? Isn't he like a boss character?
Yeah.
Isn't he like kind of overpowered anyway? I mean,
he's basically All Might.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, that's not surprising. It's kind of like if they had a Street Fighter tournament, like old school Street Fighter 2 tournament, and it was like M. Bison versus anybody. It's like, well, shit, he's overpowered as fuck. He kicks everyone's ass. He's M. Bison, bitches.
What do you expect from a boss character?
I mean, although I do like M. Bison, he's kind of badass. Plus, he has a cool theme song. Him and Sagat.
Sagat has the better theme of the two.
I think Sagat's theme is more commanding, but if you get like the old orchestrated version of Bison's theme, and you realize that he like throws off that cape, like when Bison throws off that cape, you about to get your ass kicked. That's the ass whooping signal. You know I'm about to kick your ass, right? And I know he's really called Balrog, but fuck that.
I was going to say, international, call him what you care for, but around this side of the area of the world, we call him Bison.
Yeah, we call him M. Bison, even though he's really supposed to be Balrog, but
it's actually Vega.
Well, no, I thought it was Balrog.
Balrog is basically Vega.
Yeah, Vega. Yeah, Vega. No. Balrog's supposed to be. Balrog is supposed to be
because in Japan, Balrog is M. Bison.
Yeah, that's what I said. Balrog is M. Bison, and Vega is Balrog here in America is supposed to be M. Bison, and Vega is supposed to be. Well, he keeps his name. Yeah, it's because Vega's always been Vega, but Balrog's supposed to be M. Bison.
No, in Japan, Vega is called Balrog.
Well, that's weird because M. Bison was supposed to be a play on Mike Tyson, and because he was big for a time, and that was supposed to be a Balrog, but they like the localization got fucked up, so he became M. Bison, which I'm cool with. Like why is a guy named M. Bison in Thailand? Because that's basically where. Or is it? Yeah, Thailand. That's basically where M. Bison is. That's his headquarters. Plus, he has cool theme music. Him, Sagat. Well, almost every character had cool theme music in Street Fighter.
And one of the most memorable is, of course, the Guile theme.
Yeah, the Guile theme. But Ryu had cool theme music. Ken, Chun-Li's theme music kind of sucks. Chun-Li, Guile, Ryu. But I do like the original. I like the SNES announcer because he sounded so enthusiastic.
Oh, have you guys heard about these Super Mario quiz cards?
No.
From back in the 90s?
To be honest with you, that's some old shit.
Yeah, that's some old. Well, from the 90s, I think I vaguely remember seeing them, but like I never could get them because you had to go to certain places to get them. But
because they got some hilarious artwork.
Oh yeah. I like that old artwork for Mario. Like I don't like the new artwork. It looks too
flimsy.
It looks too. I like the old artwork from back in the day.
I don't know. It looks pretty much similar.
Yeah. But that's just how I roll. I like that old shit. The old shit, God damn it! I like that old shit.
It may be old, but dang, is it good?
Like I remember when I got my first my first Mario game for the Super Nintendo, and it came with that booklet that had that awesome artwork, and it looked so exciting. Like it showed Mario underwater using a shell to like swim faster. Yeah, which was a nice little thing. You could use a shell to move faster. I thought that was cool.
That is pretty neat.
But yeah, they don't have artwork like that anymore because basically they got rid of manuals. Which I'm like, come on, Nintendo,
Come on.
you could afford to have fucking manuals.
Or at least
They're like, well, we're trying to
a
cut
little
costs.
pamphlet
Like,
in there.
man, fuck cut costs. You have some manuals.
I mean, there's people that buy manuals.
Or hell, if you want to charge people $5, $10 more for a manual, I'd pay more for a manual. For physical, if people say they want an all digital future, I would pay more for a manual with some nice artwork. I don't know about you guys, but I would.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because some things are you just need a manual to at least have something to consider before you buy the game, and think about, well, basically how the game flows in the minds of the people that make it.
Well, I got some news for you. Best Buy has cut off their little special deal, so somewhere Dr. Feelgood is crying. Because he used to use that deal to get these insane deals off of games. I'm like, dude, that doesn't sound legal.
If I remember right, he used that that Best Buy deal. I mean, that Best Buy discount to get games at nearly 10% $10 off. Usually.
like 20% off, because you get 10 and then you return it and get like another 5 or 10. Like it was ridiculous. But no, I don't roll like that, son. I basically use Amazon Prime and I just get 10% off. So like if a game is $60, I pay like 50 something. So I'm not angry about it. Some people are like, I can't deal with that, but it doesn't bother me.
For me, I have to wonder. I have to look at how the prices work before I go for a game, because, well, if you ask me, every purchase shows what you're liking. And some people like some weird and dumb shit.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, but somewhere someone's crying because somewhere someone's crying like a baby because their precious little
discounts is gone.
Yeah, the discount is gone. Although my favorite discount is not that one. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's the little bit of news we had. So anything anyone else wants to bring up before we wrap things up? Anything. Okay, then. So that was the BS Busters Memorial Day cast. Wasn't too long, but wasn't too short either. Thank you for joining. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Anything you guys want to pimp out on Discus?
Oh yes, I just recently made a new article. It's called "The Shin Megami Tensei Fanbase is Relentless." It was requested by Alex9234, who suggested me to do an article on either the Megami Tensei fanbase or the Metroid fanbase, and how bad either of them is.
And I was about to say, what made you what happened to this Metroid one? Because if anything, I know Metroid has its unsavory moments.
Originally I was going to cover the Metroid fan base, but then something recently happened that caused me to go with Shin Megami Tensei instead.
What was the factor?
Matt Pat's game theory on Persona 4. And how relentless the Shin Megami Tensei fan base called him out on it.
Well, that's kind of bullshit, because if you play Persona 3 Fez, which is supposedly the canonical version of Persona 3, the main character is female. So
they're kind of cheap shotting themselves.
It's just that the original version of Persona 3 is the protagonist is male.
Yeah, and then they did the canonical version of it because, like, the reason why 3 is more canonical is because, like, in Persona 3 and Persona 4, it's all about your relationships. That's how you get new. That's how you open up more demons to recruit and stuff like that. And your male character in Persona 3 is always kind of weird. Like, he's very, like, he doesn't act like a male character. Like, it's kind of weird how he acts. And then if you make him into a female character, it makes a lot more sense. So I'm like, I don't know why, like, you know.
Why are people getting so much salt over it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus,
because the female protagonist ruins the overall theme of Persona 3, like loss and death.
no, it doesn't. Because the whole point of Persona 3 is that at the very end, in the first game, is if you get the best ending, is that your main character sacrifices himself in order to save, like, everybody. That can be male or female. It makes more sense if it's a female character, because why your character doesn't make these the final steps with all these different characters and makes that decision from being just a sacrifice thing to you know, I'm going to sacrifice myself and become almost like a mother sacrificing themselves for their children type of thing. Because the whole point, like, whatever. But I mean, you're right. It's the fan base, because these are people who probably only played the Persona games and didn't play the Shin Megami Tensei games, because Shin Megami Tensei's always had weird stuff like that. And plus, it just makes sense to have female characters. I mean, because Shin Megami Tensei always has a dick monster in it. So, you know.
Enough said, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a dick monster, you gotta have female characters, because it doesn't make sense to have a dick monster and a whole bunch of dudes. Although, you know, if that's the type of game you're going for, hey, if that floats your boat, knock yourself out. I mean, look, make yourself happy. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you.
There's some things that just write themselves off.
So, I mean, I personally am not cool with that, but, you know,
to each their own.
Yeah, to each his own. You know, but
so, anybody else want to speak up before we close out, or do you anybody have a palate cleanser for that?
I read the little thing. Yeah, the Persona series is a spinoff. And people just get mad about it. Like, I can't believe this.
That's like people getting pissed off at the Metroid Prime series and saying it's really Metroid instead of instead of the Metroid series being, well, Metroid.
It's a spinoff. Yeah, it's a spinoff. Here's what else I'll say. I mean, you know, it's a spinoff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But with that being said, that's the end of this video. Thank you for joining. It's, like I said, it's just a nice little thing we did on the side. Good night, peace, and happy Memorial Day.
Drink responsibly.